The roaring 20s. Economy was booming, jazz and dance were popping. And as women in the United States were finally given the right to vote, they were more than ready to break free from traditions. They said goodbye to corsets and hello to less restricting and shorter dresses, making it easier to move and dance. For this look, I'm wearing an ivory feather dress, and although this dress is a bit too short for the era, I think it gives off a classic flapper vibe, who were more than just trendsetters but also a force that redefined Western womanhood. Fashion in the 1930s was escapism in a nutshell. People were broke and devastated because of the Great Depression, and with the threat of another war, they resorted to the only sane option for therapy back then: retail therapy. Come on, guys, if you have a choice between shock therapy, hydrotherapy, or retail therapy, what would you choose? People back then may have been broke, but they were stylish. Watching in a cinema was a way to distract themselves, so fashion was heavily influenced by Hollywood glam. Feminine silhouettes, high waistlines, puff sleeves, and bias cut dresses were a big hit. And oh, fun fact, the first Louis Vuitton Speedy was designed in the 1930s, so I borrowed my mom's to channel a diva who was ready for a much needed weekend getaway. With most men being away and serving in the war, women started to shine in the workforce and show that we are just as capable as our counterparts. Due to limited materials because of the war, clothing became more practical and less adorned. Short-sleeved dresses and more utilitarian-inspired clothing such as skirt suits and trench coats were the norm. And with the increase of women in the workforce, pants became a socially accepted piece of women's wardrobe. Women in this era were such badass. They were working in factories and showing that they got this. And of course, I had to wear pants for my 40s inspired look to honor this big moment in women's fashion. I'm honestly conflicted about 1950s fashion. As much as I love the tea dresses and full skirts, I just don't appreciate the idea behind them. With men coming home from the war, women were of course expected to be dutiful housewives once again and take care of their picket fence homes while looking picture perfect. How realistic. Society just became more conservative and the gender roles became more divided. So let's just say I love 1950s fashion, but not the ideologies. The dress I'm wearing is actually from the 1950s. I bought it off Etsy 5 years ago and it's too small on me now and it's tearing apart, but I love it nonetheless. 1960s fashion is truly iconic. Styles became more progressive and diverse, from more conservative silhouettes in the early 60s to skirt suits, hippie fashion, and more playful outfits inspired by the mod movement. The 60s had it all. It was the era of the youth, when the younger generation found their voice and fought for equality and social change. And the fashion in this decade clearly represented this movement. Miniskirts were introduced, as well as bolder patterns, flared bottoms, and go-go boots. For this look, I'm wearing a yellow plaid mini dress and knee-high socks to channel the youthful vibe inspired by the modern movement. 1970s fashion is a mix of everything. Some were taking inspiration from previous decades, while some created new trends. Women can wear pants wherever they wish. Vogue even declared, "There are no rules of the fashion game now. You're playing it and you make up the game as you go." Bell bottoms, pantsuits, wrap dresses, peasant blouses, halter tops, and denim were big in this decade, and of course, sparkly disco outfits. For my 70s outfit, I'm just wearing a two-piece set with flared top and flared bottoms, made out of velvet, which was also popular in this decade. 1980s fashion was very bold and experimental, to say the least. We have outfits inspired by music such as punk rock and hip hop, and with the fitness craze going on, sportswear made its way to everyday errands and even runway. Leotards, leggings, leg and arm warmers, you name it. But what I'm most fan of was power dressing. So during this decade, more women were occupying the professional workforce. So power suits became more popular, and of course, shoulder pads. The bigger, the better. They weren't just a fashion statement, but they were also designed to emulate a more masculine silhouette, so women will be taken more seriously in the workforce. Not like we need that to feel powerful, but nonetheless, they were a symbol of female empowerment and success. As we approached the 90s, fashion became more casual and minimalist. More and more people also started thrifting, which is such a good thing. Popular trends included the model off duty style, grunge, feminine slip dresses, and the sexy schoolgirl look. And although I would most likely channel the model off duty style if I was an adult in the 90s, I decided to replicate Britney's schoolgirl outfit in Baby One More Time, since this video is meant to give inspiration for outfits you can wear for Halloween, and because Britney is just truly iconic and a big part of my childhood. Y2K, the era of low-rise everything. And I'm a really big fan of bringing back trends, but this is a trend that I don't want to ever come back. Denim jeans, mini skirts, tank tops, and juicy couture tracksuits were a staple, and Paris Hilton was the fashion icon. And let's not forget Mean Girls. For this outfit, I'm having a Paris Hilton and Regina George moment with my pink cardigan and a pink tank that says, "On Wednesdays, we wear pink." I'm also wearing this pink bag that I can definitely see Paris wearing back in the 2000s. Since I don't own anything low-rise anymore, I hid the waistline of my skirt by wearing a longer top. Guys, can you believe that 2010 is almost 12 years ago now? I honestly feel so old. Most of us have lived through this decade and have witnessed the overarching trends that take inspiration from the previous decades. But if there's one thing that 2010 is really known for, it's athleisure. Activewear shaped fashion and wearing leggings and sports bra outside the gym became a trend. But since I think athleisure is not iconic enough to wear for Halloween, I also tried to replicate a style popularized by one of the OG YouTubers. Can you guess who? Comment down below if you know the YouTuber I'm trying to copy. If there is one thing I've realized from making this video, it's how events shape fashion and how fashion also help define history. And I think we all know the biggest force that has sadly shaped our lives in 2020. Yes, it's the panini. With all the lockdowns and people working from home, loungewear has reached its peak and continues to be a popular choice of style. It's all about comfort and transitioning our home clothes to outside wear. If you don't want to dress up for Halloween, you can stay cozy in your sweats and symbolize the crazy year that 2020 is, and spice it up a little bit with a DIY Vax card necklace. I live in San Francisco, and if you guys live here, you know that you have to bring your Vax card to do any of the fun stuff on Halloween. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.